Welcome back to the podcast. This is B-Side Banter, episode 7. I'm here with Honeybee Reviews, and this is your second time on, and I'm super stoked for it. We're going to kind of do something a little different, where we're just going to like bust through some lists and do some kind of fun things that way. But yeah, welcome back to the pod. We're excited to have you on again.
Thanks for having me on. I always love my time bantering with the B-side.
That's right. Yeah. Well, there's not a whole lot of banter. It's not like we argue that much, right? We're like listening. We're respectful.
Well, we'll see how today goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So if you hadn't seen our first 2 episodes, Honeybee Reviews, you have TikTok, which is your biggest social media platform. You're also pretty much everywhere else. You're on Instagram. You've got YouTube going. So yeah, check them out. Always has great Friday new music updates. You put in the work, you hustle for that. You stay up late, you listen to music, and you save us a lot of time by like assessing this and being like, hey, this is what you should or shouldn't listen to. So we appreciate that. But yeah, a little bit of a shout out there just to check them out. All right, well, we're gonna start. Unless you have anything you want to say, but we're going to start with talking about Playboi Carti's new album, Music, which was supposed to be I Am Music, but now it's just music, right? I don't know.
He is the music.
He is the music. Yeah, but let's talk about that. That's a big album. We've been waiting for a long time.
5 years.
Wild. 5 years.
5-year gap. And
Yeah.
so the real question is, was it worth the wait, right? What do you think?
No, 5 years is never nothing you can do after that long will be worth the wait.
That's exactly the correct line of thinking, honestly.
Yeah, like there's no it doesn't matter what you're even in. It's a movie too. If a movie waits for 5 years, like I guess maybe an example would be like the Avatar series. First Avatar comes out, second Avatar is probably 5, 6, 7 years later. I don't know the timeline, but it's several years. It was good, but it's never going to be like it's never going to live up to that hype of like, whoa, he's taking more time. Like he's taking more time to like figure out the best album, and then it drops, and it's always going to be disappointing.
Well, here's what I have to say about Cardi's new album. And disclaimer, I really, really enjoyed the album.
Mhm.
Loved it, actually. Like, I loved the album.
Yeah.
But it did feel like a very safe release.
Yes.
In the way that the features were extremely predictable, besides Kendrick. But
Yeah, that's
of
true.
course, we had a future feature. Of course, Travis Scott was on the
Yes,
album. I'm not
absolutely.
surprised to see The Weeknd
Yep.
on a Playboi Carti album. And I'm not saying that those guys didn't deliver, because I do think that they absolutely did.
Yeah.
Got the most out of those features, and they work really well.
Yeah.
But I don't know, they just felt very safe, which is fine. I'm assuming that, like you were saying, after a 5-year wait, there was nothing Cardi could do to really just make it worth the wait. And
Yeah.
so he decided instead to release something that he knew that his fans would really mess with, and that, we would enjoy, that it would be good. And
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what he did, which is fine. It's just not experimental like Whole Lotta Red was. And
Yeah.
there's just not a whole lot of different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's what is slightly that disappointing side of it, is that I think the expectation, because of what he has done for the genre, basically starting a new genre in rap, like a new sub-genre, the expectation was like maybe something like this will happen. Maybe he'll do something even crazier, or maybe he'll do something that'll push, or start another new genre, or push the genre really far. But in all reality, it was, like you said, quite safe. I felt like sonically, it sounded a lot like Yeat's album. Like, I don't know if you spent a lot of time with Yeat's album, but like I felt like sonically, like obviously Cardi's voice, like what he does with his voice is very unique, and that only Cardi does that. But like, take that aside, just like analyze like, the track, the instrumental side of it. It felt to me very much like kind of like what Yeat put out a little bit, which I was like, interesting.
I'd categorize them in the same subgenre of hip hop.
Yeah.
Where I don't even know what you would call it, but it's kind of like the hyper pop version of rap.
Yeah.
It's kind of the overblown production and stuff like that. But what I will say, that one of the most impressive parts on the record for me is just the fact that it's 30 tracks long, and I was invested and engaged the entire time.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's nearly impossible to do. So You got to
Yeah.
give Carti his flowers for that.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't feel like when I was listening to it, like maybe I was like, oh, like I didn't like that song as much, but it didn't like on a 30 track record, a lot of the time you're gonna have like 3 or 4 or even maybe 5 or 6 song runs where you're like, I didn't like these at all. Like this whole run here was like boring or uninteresting. It didn't feel that way at all to me.
Yeah, not at all.
Like there might have been a miss in there, and I can't even really pinpoint what track that would be necessarily, but yeah, I feel like it was quite engaging. A lot of that is, because the songs are so short to begin with, average track runtime is probably around like 2 minutes or something. So, with that much switch up, you keep the listener engaged, whereas 30 tracks, 3 to 4 minutes long each, then you're like, woof, like this is this is too much. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a good album. Like, do you have any like standout tracks for you? I know you probably have put some of those into your playlist that you update every Friday.
Yeah,
But
that's
I,
right.
I would
I
be
do.
curious to see what these standout tracks are.
So my probably my favorite track is Rather Lie with The Weeknd,
Yeah.
which there's a little bit of controversy going on right now where a couple fairly credible Twitter accounts are claiming that AI was used in the making of that track.
Really?
Nobody has been able to pinpoint how or when or why or even where they're getting this information. So that's just something interesting that's notable. But my
AI
favorite track,
in what way? Let's
I think vocally is
like
what
for the weekend?
I think for Cardi.
Oh, for Cardi. Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
again, like I really haven't done that much research on it or any, and I don't think there's even much research to do. I don't think there's no source for these claims, but the people that are saying it are fairly credible, which is what is kind of odd to me. So I don't really know. Anyway, I really like Backdoor also with Kendrick. Kendrick was an awesome surprise to see on this one because we talked about Kendrick the last time I was on the pod actually,
Yeah.
but this just even further solidifies like Kendrick's just doing this for the love of hip hop. Like he just wanted to be on a Cardi album, which again, even more controversy because he has been kind of on a moral high ground this whole last year, and now people are criticizing him for linking up with Cardi, who's a fairly well-known abuser. So it's like, very interesting, but
yeah, that
good
is.
music, I will say.
Yeah, it's you're picking and choosing interesting people here, Kendrick.
Exactly. That's kind of the criticism.
Yeah.
But my favorite solo Cardi track is like Wheezy. I love the production on it. I think it's really kind of an outlier on the album because it's just more almost bubbly.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's really fun. So those are probably my top 3 as of right now. But I've got probably 9 or 10 added to my playlist, which is more than you will see normally on an album when it release.
Yeah, totally.
Probably partially because there's so many songs. It's good. It's a good album. Not monumental by any means, but it's a solid release.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate it.
Do you have any misses that come to mind or not really? It's hard to like think back through that unless you like make a mental note when you're listening like, woof, this is bad. But
yeah, there would have to be one that was like a standalone horrible track.
Yeah.
There's not like
no, there's not.
It's a consistent release, so
yeah, totally.
I don't have any.
Yeah. Well, I think overall, like we said, obviously, it's kind of disappointing because how do you maintain that amount of hype around an album that you're waiting for 5 years for? It's impossible. It's going to be the same mountain that all of these other artists that have been waiting forever to release new music, if they ever do, are going to be facing, like Frank Ocean. Like nobody, like his album is going to be a disappointment to some people for sure because people have been waiting forever. So it falls into that to some degree, but I do think that there's a little more like, I do feel like sometimes it's a lot easier to like hate on these types of albums that, like you said, are kind of safe albums, because from like what I've been seeing a lot of online is just kind of like pretty like either like just passing or failing grades on this album. Like when people are rating it, like I've seen a lot of like 2 out of 5s, 4 out of 10s, like, which is surprising to me because I feel like it's for sure at least a 6 out of 10, and if not like maybe a little bit better. But like some people are like, this is his worst album, which whatever, that's debatable. But then on top of that, saying this is just a bad album, it was horrible, like all these things, which I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see that.
It's definitely not a bad album. It's like what you're saying. People just build their expectations so high.
Yeah.
And that in a way is a reason that it discourages these artists to even release an album. Like Frank Ocean, I can imagine one of the main reasons he's not even putting an album out is because he's like, dude, these people think I am a R&B god.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I have, like, my discography is perfect. Like, I don't want to mess it up. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to mess up a perfect discography.
Obviously.
And so Frank Ocean is just kind of floating, you know, like he doesn't know, I don't think, what to do. And these little snippets surface online and we all go crazy. And I guess it's still not enough for him to say, okay, people still love me. So I don't know. It's very interesting though.
Yeah. Super interesting. Any other thoughts on Carti?
One thing about it, I guess these artists, they kind of have two trains of thought probably. One is you can make a safe album like Carti did, which his fans are going to really appreciate and love. Like he had the biggest streaming day, I think, in hip hop history, first day streams, except for maybe Certified Lover Boy by Drake.
Okay.
I think it's the only other album maybe that had more streams the first day, but it's like people were tapping in, right? They were so curious and excited for the album.
Absolutely.
A safe album,
yeah,
people will return to. So you can either do that or the total opposite. And you just release something totally off the wall, not what people's expecting. That way, if people don't like it, they can just write it off and say, oh, Carti was just trying to be super experimental and that's not for me. You know, like those are kind of the two options. And if you meet somewhere in the middle, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, it's true. And we kind of saw an album like that already where it was like doing something crazy, but the Ethel Cain album, Perverts or whatever, like that was just a total out of nowhere compared to Preacher's Daughter, right? I think was her one before that.
Preacher's Daughter,
yeah. It was like, and I was talking about Bon Iver with Casey's playlist on this, but like he did the same thing with 22 A Million after his self-titled album, right? Like just totally out of left field. And when it works, it's amazing. Usually the flowers don't come until a few years down the road when people can actually like process what has been done. And like Whole Lotta Red was kind of like that too. Like, you know, the initial reaction was not positive by any means. But yeah, he didn't do that. He didn't do another Whole Lotta Red. Well, he did do another Whole Lotta Red basically, but I mean like he didn't do like another like jump out and take a huge risk.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there will be his fans will love it. They'll go back to it. People that are just kind of casual listeners probably won't really listen to it as much.
Yeah, they won't. But side note, based off of these singles we've gotten, that the new Bon Iver album coming out this year is probably going to be a top 10 album of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Singles have been so good.
Yeah, I've been
so good.
I've been completely just loving every moment of it. It's like, even with Bon Iver, like this is like a little bit of a safer album for him. He's not fully going back to like Forever or whatever, but he kind of is. Like it's more positive and more uplifting a little bit, but he's kind of going back to that. So, which is fine. And that's the thing you want, like with Bon Iver, like he's the type of artist that you're never like he's selling out. Like everything he does is just what he wants to do at that time. So like obviously he's producing something that he's wanting to do at this moment. But yeah, it's like he can't always be, you know, Kanye is the same way. They can't always be doing groundbreaking, genre altering, mind blowing things. The expectation for that is unrealistic. But we want that. That's what we want from our favorite artists.
Between those two artists though, is that at these points in their careers,
I don't know.
They're points. At both of their individual points. I don't know grammatically how to say that. Bon Iver is going back to the sound that made people fall in love with him from forever ago, right? But, you know, with a little bit, it's different, like you said. Kanye instead is making Vultures, which sounds nothing like The College Dropout.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, it's Bon Iver paying homage to himself and saying, look how far I've come in my career. I can make music like Emma that people love, but I can make it better now because I'm this much further into my career. Like I've learned so much. Imagine if Kanye made a backpack hip hop album like the college dropout at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a bad example because my man is totally off the wall, so it wouldn't work. But you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I'm there
it's
with
Bon
you.
Iver making his original style of music, but with everything that he's accumulated throughout his
Yeah.
successful career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do feel like still that funky wonkiness of 22 a million and
Yeah.
whatever that double I one is or whatever. You still feel that funkiness in it, but it's like it's kind of back a little bit more to his folk roots of like just recording an album on an SM57 and it sounds like thrash
Yeah.
trash but it's amazing,
Yeah,
right?
it's amazing. Yeah.
Like
It's
so,
what we want.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
So that I think it's really cool what Bon Iver's doing,
Yeah.
and I think he's doing it at the highest level. I think this album's going to be really great.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I am like 100% so biased because he's probably like of any artist, like he's probably one of my favorites that I will never stop listening to. So I am completely biased, but I will agree with you with my bias completely intact there. I think it's going to be an amazing album. Yeah, and in other news, and we don't have to dwell on this if you're not like a Radiohead fanatic, but did you see all of the stuff coming out about how they started an LLP or an LLC or yeah, no, an LLP, I think is what basically they as a band have started like a corporation. So that basically implies that either they're going on tour again or they're putting out reissuing an album or putting out new music because basically
Wow.
that's like them creating this business so that they can gain revenue.
Wow, I did not see that.
Yeah, so that's like some top news for people that have been dying for
I kind
something.
of thought that would never happen, honestly.
So did so many people. Yeah, the big TikTok joke is like Radiohead fans like being so excited, but also having to figure out what an LLP is. Isn't it something? But like it sounds
Yeah,
cool.
that's
And
interesting.
so yeah, there's some stuff happening that's pretty interesting in kind of like this alt world. Bon Iver kind of fits into like alt folk, alt something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've kind of gone a little far away from Cardi. But anyway, you know, we're not going to go back. We're not going to go back. So let's just keep moving forward. And like on this segue, we're going to come back to somebody that we love to talk about, even though, you know, some people might say he's a trash human, but we're going to do some lists. And the first one is the 5 best Kanye albums, right? So,
Right.
so here we are. And I'm sorry that I offended you by saying that he might be a trash human right now, but I think that's most people's I think that's most people's sentiment. But let's just fire off some quick lists here. This is kind of where this episode might feel a little different. We're just going to go through and just kind of give some favorites of some bigger artists, and at the end we might play a couple games. I might try to test your knowledge on Kanye to see how big of a fan you really are. But yeah, give me your 5 best Kanye albums.
All right, we're going to start at the bottom. Top 5 Kanye albums.
Mm-hmm.
At number 5, I have The Life of Pablo. I love the good versus bad dichotomy on the album. Some of my most listened to Kanye songs are on there with, you know, No More Parties in LA, Father Stretch My Hand, Saint Pablo, all top tier Kanye tracks. Yeah. So I've got that at number 5. At number 4, I've got Graduation. This is the album that Kanye made with the dream of selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
Which back then, hip hop artists weren't selling out stadiums.
Absolutely
like now it's super common to see Travis Scott, Drake, you know, any of these guys are selling out stadiums easily. But back then it wasn't a thing until Kanye went on tour with U2 and he saw how their stadiums were sold out, their fans were singing their anthemic lyrics. And so Kanye thought, well, why don't we do that for hip hop, you know? And so he made songs like Stronger, Can't Tell Me Nothing with these anthemic hooks that people could sing along to, and it's really reflected on the album. So it's really fun album. At number 3, I have The College Dropout.
Okay. The
album that started it all. I love the concept on the record. Most of all, I love the palpable hunger that you just can feel from Kanye on his debut album. It's special, especially on tracks like Through the Wire, All Falls Down. Like, he's so hungry. It's amazing. At number 2, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Okay.
Quite literally a perfect record. Is Kanye's backhanded apology for the VMA incident, trying to win the public back by saying, hey, I can make a perfect hip hop album and you're all going to love me again, which I don't think he could ever do again.
Yeah.
I don't think he could ever win the public back. I think
It's too
he's
far
maybe
gone.
gone past the point of return.
It's way too far gone. Like the VMA stuff is peanuts compared to what
Dude, it's
the
like nothing.
shenanigans he's up to now.
So, but My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy,
Yeah.
perfect album.
Yeah.
But at number one, I have Yeezus.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably my favorite album of all time.
Wow.
It has a rich narrative executed perfectly by great features like Bon Iver, Chief Keef.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I love the production, the polarizing nature of the album, and I just think it was very innovative and cool. So that's my number one Kanye album.
There it is.
What do you think of my list?
Top 5. I think it's good. You know what? I'm fine with it. I am not a huge fan of Graduation in my preference, even though I know what it did for him, and like you just explained, what it did for hip hop. And it is a fun album. But I have my 5 would be, I start with Late Registration at 5. I love that album. I think I rate it higher than a lot of people would, but I just really enjoy that. Number 4, I have 808s and Heartbreak, just because for what it did, like for the genre. Like I don't necessarily go back a lot to that album, but like that album probably was his most influential album, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sonic influence on the genre. And then at number 3, I have College Dropout, and then I have Yeezus at 2, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy at 1. I just have that just slightly over Yeezus. I really like Yeezus. I love his collaboration with Bon Iver, like, you know, through feature and also just through production on Yeezus. But I think I just relate a little bit more with the darkness of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I just love like the dark tones on that album.
Yeah. Bon Iver's on Twisted Fantasy too.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
You can have your cake and eat it.
That's what I will do. Yeah, that's my list there. I do like Life of Pablo. I think I just was out of listening to Kanye at the time that came out. Like, does that make sense? Like, so I didn't spend as much time with that album. I know a lot of people think very fondly of Donda as well, and it's the same. Those 2 albums, I was kind of like not really paying much attention to what he was doing.
If Donda is in your top 5, you are not.
I know, it's true.
Kanye fan.
It's true.
You're not. He has so many albums that could be literally rated like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Donda is not one of them. It's too bloated.
I agree with that.
The highs are high, but the lows are low.
They are low. Yeah, totally low. Yeah, for sure.
But I will say it is probably the best album rollout of all time. That was amazing.
Yeah.
You're saying maybe you weren't there really for it, but it was like incredible. He was selling out these stadiums just for people to listen to the album. Like,
I know.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I've like gone back and gotten into the lore of all of that, but I definitely wasn't in the like actual presence of all of that when it was happening. So I think those 2 albums they just don't sit as well with me, just because I wasn't listening to them as they were kind of being put out. But yeah, that's the best album. So let's stay on Kanye and let's go for 5 best songs, Kanye songs.
Okay. This is hard.
At
number 5, I have New Slaves off of Yeezus.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an underrated track in Kanye's discography, I feel like, but that outro alone warrants a top 5 placement, in my opinion. It's like so phenomenal. It might be the best 10 seconds of Kanye's entire discography. Like, it's just beautiful. At number 4, I have Ghost Town off of Ye.
Okay.
Kid Cudi, Party Next Door, and Kanye all coming together.
Yeah,
to just create such a gorgeous track. It's like one of the most healing songs for me.
Yeah.
It's just, I love it. At number 3, I have All Falls Down off of College Dropout. Such an incredibly written song, touching on subjects like commercialism and materialism. And, you know, it's just amazing. It's a classic.
Yeah, it is a classic. So, for sure.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Fun fact, it was supposed to be a Lauryn Hill sample, but she wouldn't clear it. And so he had Selena Johnson, who we found in the studio at the time, just sing Lauryn Hill's words instead of, because he couldn't clear the sample. So that's how the Selena Johnson feature.
That's wild.
Kind of wild, but
underhanded way to get there.
Yeah. He's like, oh, Lauryn won't clear this. Hey, will you just sing this?
Yeah, that's
kind of funny.
Yeah.
But at number 2, I have Runaway. Such an epic song. You know, the most epic song in Kanye's discography. The production's great. If you skip the outro, we won't be friends. So you got to play the entire outro.
Yeah.
And then on Runaway, there's that story of Pusha T recording his feature, and Kanye made him, you know, he would turn it in. Kanye would make him keep recording it over and over. He would say, you need to be more of a douchebag, more douchebag, more douchebag. Until finally Pusha T, I guess, like tapped into something internal that he didn't want to.
Yeah.
And then Kanye was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah,
so
this is what I want.
That feature's great.
It
works perfectly, which that's something that Kanye does as good as anyone, is getting the most out of his features, I feel like. Which
totally
brings me to my number one Kanye song, Devil in a New Dress. The Rick Ross feature's great. The Mike Dean guitar is right up there with the New Slaves outro for the best 10 seconds in Kanye's discography. It's so good. And I just love the backhanded humor of the writing on the song. I ordered the jerk. She says, you are what you eat. It's like, it just cracks me up. And it's also really sad. Like, in the context of the album, it's kind of the moment where things flip for our protagonist, and he's like at an all-time low. So kind of sad. But really good song.
I agree. I'm pretty sure that I've made a list. I should have looked back on it. I made a list on my channel. I'm pretty sure I have as my favorite Kanye song is Devil in a New Dress.
Perfect.
I am also very fond of Black Skinhead. I think that's like a little bit of like, I don't know what it is, but the energy of that song, even though it's like really dark and
drums.
I just love that track. I don't know where I'd put it, but I would also, one of my favorite Kanye songs, not my favorite song, one of the like one of the samples basically that I think is just so well done of any Kanye song is I Wonder. Like, I just feel like
that is such a good sample.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but just sonically, that's like just candy to my ears whenever I hear that, like, come on. I don't necessarily think the song as in its tired in like the whole of the song is like one of his best, but just I feel like that's one of the coolest samples that he's put together to have in a track. But yeah, I didn't really come with a 5, but those are like my, what did I say? 3 songs. Those are like 3 songs that I'd have in there that I'm always listening to just over and over. Let's move on here, because these two have such a great relationship. Let's talk about the 5 best Taylor Swift albums. Let's jump like way out of hip hop into like the most girly pop you could ever imagine.
Hey, we're here for it.
We
love all types of music. We do.
Yeah.
Okay. At number 5, I have Lover. I think that the highs are really high on this album with songs like Cruel Summer, Lover, False God. But I also think that the lows are equally low with songs like Me and Paper Rings. Like, those songs suck so bad. But the highs are so high that they alone can propel this album into a top 5 ranking for me.
Yeah. Okay. I respect that.
At number 4, I have Reputation.
Man, I love Reputation. Okay, keep going.
Okay. In my opinion, like, I know why you love it. This is like, if we're talking Kanye, this is like her Yeezus almost. Like, this is her FU to the industry and to audiences, saying, basically, I don't care how you perceive me anymore. I'm just going to do me.
Yeah.
And so it's really, really cool. It's a great album. So I have it at number 4.
Nice. I love that.
But at number 3, I have Red. Mostly, I will admit, there's a nostalgic factor here for me on Red.
All of Taylor Swift is nostalgia.
That is true. Plus, this album has All Too Well on it.
Yeah.
So that alone, like, it deserves a high placement.
Yeah.
But at number 2, I have the perfect pop album, 1989. This is her first fully, entirely fleshed out pop album. Like, Red had
elements,
touches of pop. It was like indie pop or whatever. But 1989, full blown pop, and it did really well critically and commercially also. So it's the perfect pop album. It is. It has just hit after hit after hit after hit, and it also has the best vault songs from the Taylor's version re-releases, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that for sure. Some of the vault songs.
What Is It Over Now? Yeah. What's the other one? Oh, Now That We Don't Talk.
Yeah.
I mean, incredible. All Absolutely. Really, really good.
Yeah, I agree.
But my number one Taylor Swift album is Folklore.
Yeah.
One of the best written albums of the 2020s, and I'm not like saying that lightly at all. You know, I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of music, and Folklore is one of the best written albums of this decade so far.
Yeah.
The way that she can interweave three different characters in a love triangle, it's in a moving way, describing emotion. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And so I love that album. And now that I know that you are a Bon Iver stan, I know that you appreciate it as well because there's so much Bon Iver influence.
There is.
Like, it's all over
Yeah.
the place. It's
Yeah.
just like the
Absolutely.
storytelling in
Yeah.
the folky way. It's just, it also is a perfect album, in my opinion. It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It is really, really good. I like that list. There were some things I was like, that was a little unexpected, but you know, I like
Okay,
that
let's
list.
hear it. What would you do differently?
I wouldn't have Lover. I do agree with you that the highs are really high, but the lows are like Me is probably, in my opinion, take away like her vault tracks and vault some of her vault features, but I think Me is one of her worst songs with a feature ever. Like I know that some people
It is.
would
It's the
out
worst.
it's so bad.
It's the
I know there's some other ones that, some people would argue are worse than that, but to me, that's just it was so painful. So I wouldn't have Lover low. Like, I don't think I would have it in her worst albums. That would probably go to like some of her newer ones, but I probably would have it kind of in the middle somewhere. I don't know if it would quite crack the top five. Um,
yeah.
so I would say that that five would be Speak Now for me. I feel like that's when she was just getting like this kind of like superstar mojo. She had some really like that to me is like Red is also very nostalgic, but there's some really irritating moments in Red for me that but
Yeah.
now Speak Now to me is like it's so good. I think that would be number five. And then, even though I did say Red has some like irritating moments, I can't not put Red in a top five. So I would put it four. Yeah, it's like I just really don't like Stay, Stay, Stay. I cannot stand that song. So cringy to me. But the highs on Red are just like you said. It's got All Too Well. What can you say against that? 22.
Yeah.
Like I don't love I Knew You Were Trouble, but it's a huge hit, obviously.
I kind of like it. Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I just know and understand that Taylor herself is a little cringy. Like, she just
Yeah,
is a little
absolutely.
cringy.
Yeah, you have to.
And you love her for that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's just who she is. And so, like, I Knew You Were Trouble is like a good
yeah.
example of that
Well,
to me, where it's like
that's
it's a little cringy, but it's good.
yeah. Well, and that's the tolerable cringy for me. Like to me, I'm like that's a cringy song, but I can tolerate it. It is raining something over there. But yeah, I find that and like We're Never Getting Back Together is so fun. Like and that's a little
Yeah.
corny and cringy, but it's like
Yeah, it's super cheesy,
it's
but it's
so
fun.
fun. So anyway, Red number four. I'm putting Reputation at number three. Love that album. I get all the gripes that all the critics say about that album. I get that like the production is sometimes really messy and like some of the songs and songwriting is like seems sloppy for her and seems like hastily put together. But I just feel like that was other than her folk albums that she wrote, like that was kind of Taylor tapping into something that she hasn't tapped into before, and I feel like
Yeah.
in my opinion, it was a success, and I felt like some of the sounds she came up with out of that were just really awesome, and just like
And I feel like the point of Reputation was to be a little messy, like,
yeah, yeah,
and just say, I don't care. Like, I am a little messy. We
yeah,
all are.
yeah, I agree. Obviously, 1989 is in this, and I'm gonna put it at two. Um, yeah, everything you said, great pop album. Just so strong. Number one, I have Folklore as well. I just feel like she unlocked something there, which we all knew that she is a great songwriter, a great storyteller. We already knew that from her albums, but then she just like decided to be like, but I can also take it up a notch, and she did. And like some of that was to the benefit of, some Justin Vernon, Bon Iver influence, but then also like she tapped into Aaron Dessner's production on there, which I think just like blew the lid off of this. Like she just needed to get into a good pairing with people and people that were helping her write, and it just it was just so good. It's not like
special.
It is really special. I don't find the only gripe I have with Folklore that would make me maybe like put 1989 above it is that it's like re-listenability isn't as strong. It's more of like that complete album type of thing where you kind of want to listen to the whole thing. Whereas like 1989, you just like every song is a banger that you're just listening to over and over. Whereas on Folklore, there's some tracks that you wouldn't necessarily be like, I've just been having a hankering to listen to this.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. Like I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
1989 is much more playlistable,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But it's because it's a pop album.
It is, yeah.
And so like I would disagree saying that it's less replayable than 1989. I would just say that like 1989 you can include on your playlist. Folklore, you have to have the right vibe. A couple songs you can, but like I listen to Folklore as a whole much more often than I do 1989.
It's true. Yeah, you'd break up 1989. You wouldn't be like, I'm just going to put 1989 as an album and listen to the whole thing through. Yeah.
And I don't get sick of, I never get bored or sick of listening to Folklore. Like, it's a special album that I listen to pretty frequently, like at least once a month, which for me, where most of my listens are new music releases, like once a month, that's a lot for me.
That is a lot. Yeah.
I love that album. It makes me feel all sorts of things.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. I'm here for it. Okay, let's just keep going with the best, like with T Swizzle, and do a 5 best songs. We've got this cool thing going for a couple artists.
Dang. Yeah. My 5 best Taylor Swift songs. Oh, honorable mention though. Can I please just have at least one honorable mention?
You can have
honorable mention
10 if you want.
Cruel Summer.
Yeah. That's my
honorable mention because it's not as good as my top 5 in my opinion, but it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
It's so good, and I'm glad that it's getting the radio play and the love that it deserved when it originally released.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay. Top 5 Taylor Swift songs. At 5, I have Our Song. It's very nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to it, I can just picture my 2 sisters dancing and singing to it in our living room when it released. Like
totally.
And that is the magic of that song. It defines that era of Taylor Swift when she was just a little girl standing with her guitar on stage and inspiring a whole generation of little girls to do the same. Yeah. And I think it's very cutely written and well executed. So I think it deserves a top 5 placement.
Yeah, I like that.
At number 4, I have Clean off of 1989. It's just such an immaculate track with it's like its chorus and production is relieving. Like listening to Clean feels like having a weight lifted off my shoulders. And so not every song can do that. So for that reason, it's special and in my top 5. Yeah. But at 3, I have Peace off of Folklore. This is my favorite song off of Folklore. My favorite song off of Folklore. Yeah. It is a love song that is so powerful it can make a grown man cry. And it's just, the feeling of I would do anything for the person that I love. And it's just so well written. It epitomizes Folklore, in my opinion. At number 2, I have my favorite song off of Reputation, Delicate. This is
classic,
a perfect pop song for me. Yeah. I love the production. I love the songwriting. And I think that this song is like the quintessential song for a non-Taylor Swift fan. Like when they think of, the poppy love songs that Taylor Swift writes, like I think this is it. Like, this is the track that if you don't listen to Taylor Swift and that's kind of your perception of her, you should listen to Delicate because I think it's the perfect song, in that frame of mind. So that's what I've got at number 2. At number 1, come on, do I even have to say it? All Too Well, 10-minute version.
Oh no.
Has to be the 10-minute version.
Has to be.
This is a masterclass in storytelling.
Yeah.
And I know that some Taylor Swift fans kind of think that it's actually been a little overhyped. It's not. Like this is the best Taylor Swift song. It just has such good songwriting. It's so impressive to me to have a 10-minute long song that isn't just like a 10-minute long instrumental that you put on and listen
Yeah.
to. Like, no,
Yeah.
this is active listening.
Full of
And I'm
lyrics.
not getting bored. I'm
Yeah.
going through every single emotion listening to
Yeah.
this 10
Yeah.
minute long song. We talked about how impressive it is for Cardi to have 30 songs on an album and not get bored listening to it.
Yeah.
It's more impressive to have a 10-minute long song
Yeah.
that is filled to the brim with lush songwriting and to not get bored or want to turn it off. Like, no,
Yeah.
it ends and you're like, wait, what happened next? Like, where's the next 10 minutes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's this song is like the book that you just can't put down. And so you just
Mm,
decide to finish it all at 4 a.m. This song is like the TV show that you just have to binge because you don't want to miss a second of it. Like, you
mm.
cannot miss a second of All Too Well 10-minute version. You need to listen to it all. And it's really impressive. There's not many artists in the world who have done this or even have the potential to do it. And so for that reason, it's my number one Taylor Swift song
Okay.
by far.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm passionate about this,
Hey,
bro. Like,
hey, that's totally. I love the passion. I'm here for the passion.
song is so good. And
I
the video too.
Yeah, the video is pretty good. Yeah. I the sentiment is there for me, but I prefer. No, I do like it, but I prefer the shorter version.
Why?
Mostly because I just feel like I think that it's just a little too long for me. I do get all of like I've listened to it and I've followed along the lyrically and the storytelling is amazing. I agree with all that. But I just felt like in a concise way, I liked this how the story played out in a more concise way. It was fun, and I guess this is where it's so hard is that like if the 10-minute version came out first, I probably would like the 10-minute version better than the shorter version. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
because it's almost maybe there's too much nostalgia. Like, sometimes it throws me off when we're like listening to All Too Well, but it's the 10-minute version. And I don't know because we're just listening to it in the car. I'm not like paying attention. And then, like, that obviously the further lyricism like comes in and all that stuff. It almost throws me off a little bit. So, like, some of this is just like, it doesn't have as much to do with how well she crafted the song and the lyrics because I think that it is amazing. I get all of the sentiment that people share around it being amazing and so impressive that she could do that for 10 minutes and it be captivating and be a great story and not be boring. It's not that I think that it's boring. I think that maybe it's that I attach too much nostalgia to the original version. So when I'm like expecting it when I'm listening to All Too Well, I'm expecting it to go in the way the original version goes. But then if I hear the 10-minute version, I'm not like excited, like, yes, 10-minute version. I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I guess we're listening to this song longer. So
What I
I
will
think that,
say is you have to be in the right headspace
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Like, I
But
mean, 10 minutes out of your day just like
it is a lot. Yeah,
but you know what it sounds like to me, bro? It sounds like you're the kind of guy that like eats one slice of cake and was like, that was like really rich chocolate. I'm good. I don't need any more. And
hey,
I'm like, no, come
that
on,
is actually
give me another piece.
that is probably the best like psychoanalysis that anybody has said about me. That is exactly how I am. I cannot like yeah, I'm very much like a person that like that's too sweet. That's too much. Like and yeah. So anyway, the thing is though, I would not be able like I would consider both to be one, if that makes sense. So if I'm doing a ranking, I'm picking one or the other. But I'm not like I wouldn't rank them both because I would probably have both of them in the top five, and that just isn't fair to you know what I mean. So like
Yeah.
All Too Well is my number one, but I would specify that it's the original shorter version,
Okay.
not the 10-minute version. So that's my only thought around that. Um, I thought that, excuse me, I didn't, again, with these songs, I didn't come with the list, but I agree with all of your picks. I thought that I really liked the clean pick. That was like, I like that.
That's a good song.
I don't think a lot of people would have that in the top five. And that's an amazing track. It's an amazing
It is
track.
amazing.
I really like New Year's Eve. That's just, to me, I just find like how delicate that is, that song It's got good storytelling. It's all those things. I feel like that would probably be somewhere in there for me. Maybe it'd even be an honorable mention. This might be a hot take, but woulda, coulda, shoulda would be probably in my top 5 somewhere.
That is definitely a hot take.
I know it's a
Why
hot
do you
take.
like it so much?
I just found that how she wrote it, maybe it's the structure of the song that I felt like was just written so well. I know that, like, obviously this is talking about John Mayer or whatever, and how he, like, stole her, like, basically groomed her. Like that's pretty much the concept of the song. So it's not like but I just felt like lyrically it was really good. She had some really clever lyrical moments in there that really stuck out to me and always stick out to me when I'm listening to it. I felt like her transition from bridge back into chorus was the best transition she has in all of her discography. Like, I just felt like that was so good and unexpected. And I think that's why I felt like it was good, because like it didn't follow a typical song structure. It just felt like she did something different. It sounded great. It felt great. And again, I don't know if it'd be in the top 5. It would probably be maybe more toward honorable mention. But even still, even if that's in the top 10, I feel like that's a hot take. I don't think that that's like a song that people are like, this is so good. This is like one of her best songs. But I don't know. I just have that song up in high regard. And it's funny because it's off an album that I just really didn't love that much. Like, there's some high moments on Midnights, but I didn't find that it was like an exceptional album as a whole. Other than all of these statements, when I talk about like cringiest moments and like cringiest lyrics, like I'm excluding the Tortured Poets Department because like nothing can outdo that. But like Sexy Baby is like one of the cringiest lyric ever. When that came out, I was like,
I don't love it.
No, like, what is she doing? Like, I know what she's trying to do, but no, absolutely not. Never, no.
But the dichotomy, like the flip side of that, is Maroon, I feel like, is one of her best written songs. Like the way that I just love the way, like is it the bridge of the chorus where she described all these different things that are the color maroon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's obviously not like the most exceptional songwriting ever, but just the way that she does it is so satisfying to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's just certain things.
Midnight Rain, I think there are well-written songs on Midnight.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Midnight's has its highs.
Yeah.
Plus, I love the aesthetic of that era. Like,
it was
kind of like the 70s vibe and all the music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just the fact that that was around the time of like the Eras tour where I saw Taylor in Vegas, and our song actually was one of the surprise songs of the night, which was like
that's amazing
for me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's like full circle, like my nostalgia, my youth, and now I'm hearing this as an adult. It's my first time and only time ever seeing Taylor Swift live, so that was awesome. But I don't know, like Midnight's kind of has a soft spot in my heart. Even though I know it's not one of her better albums. Just like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and again, another song that I would have maybe not. This is a pretty popular song, but Vigilante Shit is like, to me, that's such a cool song. It almost belongs more on Reputation than on Midnights because of how dark it is and like the sonically what it sounds like, and that's probably why I like it so much. But like that one's a song that I'm always like, whoa, like that kind of blew me out of the water. I would agree with you with shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, that was pretty much all I was gonna say for my for like my list.
Well, that was fun. I don't really like when people ask me to come on podcasts and stuff. I don't get to talk about Taylor Swift very often.
Hey,
because usually they're having me on for hip hop or
something else. And not very many people talk about Taylor Swift and hip hop in the same breath. So we do it here. We do it here.
Let's round this out, and I would love to hear, what do you think about the Kendrick Lamar feature on Bad Blood?
It's fun because it's Kendrick. It's not great because it's not a good fit. Like, I don't know. I find that like Kendrick brings energy, but like it felt forced, I think, overall.
But you know what makes me love it more is that he redid the verse for the Taylor's version. Like, isn't that just amazing?
It is.
Can you have, like, Taylor called Kendrick, was like, hey, I need you to do this because you know what I'm doing right now with my Taylor version stuff. Like, I'm sticking it to the industry. You know, Kendrick loves that.
Yeah, so he's like, totally, I'm here for it. That is pretty awesome.
And so, like, I just love thinking about that.
Yeah, I know.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I think way more people were like, "This is gonna be so cool." I feel like the cooler thing would have been if Kendrick or if Taylor was featured on a Kendrick song. I feel like
Dude, that would be so cool.
I just feel like the
That would be
opposite doesn't fit well. Like in the sense, like in the same way that Kendrick featured like had U2 on one of his tracks. Like it wouldn't be the same if U2 featured Kendrick on one of their tracks. Like it just wouldn't fit the same because
true.
like yeah, he like when you have that mashup, I feel like playing into the hip hop side of that as a pop like artist is a lot better than doing vice versa, the hip hop. Because when you try to put hip hop into a pop song like a Taylor Swift song, it's I feel like it's just impossible for it not to feel super corny and like super like
Yeah.
I don't know, just like kind of like you're taking their teeth out. You know what I mean? Like you're just like so, and that's what it kind of felt like with Kendrick. Like, obviously, his energy, his voice, as soon as he steps onto a track, he's like Eminem in that way. Like, as soon as they step on tracks, like the energy is just like skyrockets. But it just didn't feel like it just didn't. I don't know. Overall, it felt forced.
Dude, I would love to see Taylor Swift on a Kendrick album, even just as like a writer. Like, can you imagine if people were listening to a Kendrick album and they pull up the song credits and it says Taylor Swift?
That would be
Helped them write
wild.
it.
That would be
That would be
wild.
so sick.
It would be.
People would lose their minds,
Yeah.
like in a bad way. Like people wouldn't like it, but love
Absolutely,
it.
they wouldn't like it at all. No.
I would love it. I would think it's so cool.
Yeah.